This is what my career's become. I'm making bread, and I'm making bread in an hour or under because ain't nobody got time for making bread all day long.
This recipe will make 2 loaves of bread with the ingredients here.
I'm not a smart man, but I do know how to make wheat bread. I've tried 10 or 2 recipes and they all seem to take forever, but I have a recipe I promise will take an hour or under. This should take less than an hour. If you've got a mixer, it should take less than an hour. So let's just get to making bread. There's a couple of, I don't think they're cheats because the bread turns out great. So this is homemade wheat bread in less than an hour. First thing you need is warm water, about 110 degrees. Put it in a large bowl if you don't have a mixer. 3 cups, and then you want to stir in your yeast. And this, I just use 2 packages of dry active yeast. So package numero 1, package numero 2. Okay. Stir that in. And now you need 2/3 cup of honey. The ingredients are so simple. You need wheat flour, you need some, what is that? That's salt. Oil, honey, water, and I use a little bit of white flour. You can't use all wheat flour. I use white flour and wheat flour, so I use 5 cups wheat flour, 2 cups white flour. I like it to be a little fluffier, a little less dense. Like me, not like me. Like, I'm dense. I want it to be less dense. I'm not a smart man. Jenny, why don't you love me? I'm not a smart man, but I do know how to make wheat bread. So the next thing you need to do, very important, is put in the honey. Stir in the honey into the water and the yeast. I'm not left-handed. I'm amphibious though. Amphibious. So that's kind of one of the cheats. One of the things that speeds up the process. So what you do is you let that sit for about 5 minutes, and that's proofing the yeast. And that'll get kind of a little bit frothy, creamy, and that helps the yeast to just kind of get moving, get doing its thing. So now what we need to do is get our oven going. So preheat the oven to 200 degrees. Muy importante. 5 minutes. What are we gonna do?
I will tell you how this bread is going to, this is my plan, for the bread to change the world.
My kids will hate this.
We can take the bread from the rich and give this bread to the poor. If you can make a lot of bread, you are a rich man. And you can give the bread to people who do not have the bread. This recipe will make, I like what he does with his hand when he finishes the sentence. This recipe will make 2 loaves of bread with the ingredients here. I've not tried to deviate from that plan.
Oven is preheated, but we still have a few minutes on our proofing of the yeast. I don't know what that voice was. Sounded like Mr. Tudball, if you're familiar with that. Timer done. Okay. Now, the yeast and the warm water and the honey are ready. Nice and creamy. Look how nice and creamy that is. It is ready to go. So now we start by mixing in 7 cups of flour. So what I've done is I have done 5 cups of wheat flour, and then I'm going to put in 2 cups of normal white flour just to make it a little more fluffy. Kind of like my news stories used to be, a little fluffier.
Okay, that stings a little. How it goes.
Oh!
You know what? You know what? I think it's the suit, Ira, because this isn't my official kicking suit. I usually don't wear a double-breasted.
Put those in. So here we got just 5. I'm just dumping. It's going for the big data dump right here. Okay, and now start with that 5, lock her down. 2 cups of white flour. Now we add the oil. And a tablespoon of salt. Now we add just a little bit of flour to make sure that starts to separate from the sides. Once this is all mixed, you need to knead. You need to knead. So by hand, you knead this for 10 minutes. If you have a mixer, well, the recipe I have says knead for 10 minutes. However, KitchenAid says 2 minutes of KitchenAid kneading is equivalent to 10 minutes of hand kneading. So you don't want to go any higher than speed number 2, which I'm on. And we're going to go for 2 minutes. Hey Siri, set a timer for 2 minutes. Okay, time's up. I'm going to get this step out of the way first. Spray my pans. Do this over the sink. It's climbed up pretty good. And it gets on that dough hook. And here's what I'm gonna do. Put down some flour. And spray my hands. Make them nice and oily. A little bit harder to get out of there than I would like. Looks good, smells good. So really, all you have to do at this point is separate into 2 equal portions. Make a couple of loaves. And if you want to try to do the flattening and the rolling, you know, like they do, make it all fancy looking. Make a loaf. Plop that in the pan. Look how nice that looks. Make another loaf. Roll that up. Plop it in the pan. The reason we preheated that oven to 200 degrees is to put these in, let it sit for 20 minutes, and then it will rise. You don't have to wait all day. You don't have to put it in the microwave. Wait for 6 hours, 3 days. I don't know how long. Voila. Okay, it's been 20 minutes and it's rising. Probably just not quite enough yet. So it's about 20 minutes in the oven at 200 degrees. and watch it. You want it, you know what, about an inch above the top of the pan. So I'm gonna leave it a few more minutes, but it's looking good. It might be ready to go. It's only been like 21, 22 minutes. The one on the left, obviously I made a bigger loaf. Okay, it's risen really quickly. I gave it about 21, 22 minutes, not much longer than the 20. Next step, really simple. Increase the temperature to 350 degrees and bake for 25 minutes. Pretty simple. Timer done. 25 minutes. Let's check. Just want them to be nice and golden brown on the top. They look nice and golden brown on the top. But I'm gonna give it another minute. Or dos. Okay, calling it. Look at that. Muy perfecto. Uno más. Look at that. If I can do this, you can do this. A little bit of butter on the top, just to make sure that it doesn't crack. You don't need to do this. And then let them cool before you take them out of the pan. You don't have to cool all the way, but a little bit, and then enjoy bread.
And then my plan for bread for everybody, for the entire world. If you make bread, make 2, give 1 to people who do not have bread.
The bread has cooled-ish. Still warm. And should just fall right out of the pan so nicely. If you don't like this bread, you don't like bread, bon appetit. Perfecto.